in advanced class, let's go ahead and prep for this test using the study guide for chapter 6. You have 3 cards labeled A, B, and C. You randomly choose one of the cards, replace it, and then randomly choose a second card, find the sample space. Remember, we're writing all the possible things that can happen. Well, your first one could be an A, right? Oops, let's go ahead and fix that. Sorry, thought I was on pin. There we go. And then your second one could be an A. You know what? I'm going to make it over here just so we can go ahead and use a tree here. First one could be an A. Then your second one could be an A, or it could be a B, or it could be a C. So this equals AA. This would be AB. This would be AC. Now the first one could also be a B. And again, you get 3 different outcomes. The first one could be BA. Actually, it could be, sorry, let me erase that. Put this right. It could be an A, a B, or a C. And then last one, a C, could also be an A, B, or C. And now this would equal a BA. This would equal a BB. This would equal BC. And then, of course, here we would get a CA, a CB, and a CC. All right, so they said you randomly choose one of the cards, replace it, so find the sample space. These are all of your possible samples, so we're going to list them over here. We got AA, AB, I guess I should use capital letters, I apologize. AA, AB, AC, and then we would have BA, BB, and BC, and then we would have CA, CB, and CC. So this would be our possible sample space listed right here. All right, I'm going to erase all this. This is the work that we did to prove it. Now let's go ahead and do number 2. Number 2 says you flip a coin 3 times. Find the probability of flipping heads every time. Well, remember, if it's flipping heads every time, we have to see how many possible times or how many possible outcomes we can have. Now it says a coin flip 3 times. If I did this 3 times, I'm going to do it the hard way first. I could have heads or I can have tails. And then the first one I could also have heads or tails. And the second one I can also have heads and tails. And then when I did it a 3rd time, I could have heads or tails, or heads or tails. And same thing down here. And how many different outcomes can we have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different outcomes, right? So probability of flipping heads every time, well, if I highlight the ones that are just heads every time, that would be here, here, and here. That's the only time I get heads, heads, heads. No other time do I get 3 heads in a row. So that's 1 out of 8 times. my answer would be 1 out of 8. Okay? If I wanted to turn this into a percent, I could put 1 divided by 8. 1 divided by 8 is about 0.125. That's when I move that decimal back over 2 places. This would be 12.5%. So you could put 1 over 8 or 12.5%. Next it says, describe the relationship between the data and the scatter plot. Well, to do this, we would put a line of fit. That line would go in the middle of this data. And I can say this is a strong, positive linear relationship because it goes up. The dots are very tight to it, right? So if I was to describe this, I would say a strong, positive, because it goes up, linear correlation. Okay. All right, let's go on to number 4. Number 4 says choose an appropriate display for the data, line graph or scatter plot. Looks like we got to choose between 1 or 2 things. The percent of the population of Florida that speaks Haitian Creole each year. Now, the minute I see each year, I know that they're dealing with time, right? If we have a coordinate plane, time is going to be our independent variable. So that would be on the bottom, time. And then the people that speak it, right? The percent of the population would be over here. So this would be the percent of the population. So this tells me that I'm definitely going to use a line graph, right? And I would speak a line graph. Hold on a second. Sorry about that. I had to answer a question from my wife real quick. It says, as I said, this would be a line graph because you're going to connect your dots whenever you are in reference to time, right? Whenever you have an independent variable on the bottom and dependent variable on the side, you connect the dots with a line graph, right? If you had no dependent value, in other words, it didn't matter which one was on top for x-axis or for the y or the bottom for x, then you would put scatter plot. All right, number 5 says, you score on the first 10 questions. You score, or your scores on the first 10 questions you take in the school year are shown on the line graph. Predict the number of times you will score above an 8. Well, let's see what is above an 8. Well, 8 would be here. And remember, it doesn't say 8, it says above an 8. So I'm going to go with this line here, right? And everything above this line is what I would go ahead and use. So what are the things above it? Well, I see that I have a 1 point here that you scored above an 8, and then another point here, and another one here. And those are the only 3 times I scored above an 8. The rest of it were 8 or below. So that was 3 times. I have to see how many points we did here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So that was 3 out of 10 times that it was above an 8. Now it says predict the number of times you will score above an 8 on the next 30 quizzes. So this was 10 quizzes, right? This was the total amount. And now I'm trying to find out not for 10, but for 30. So it means I'm going to go ahead and be finding the percent, right, over 30. So I would put these equal. And of course, this is going to make cross multiplication occur. Well, this is the way to solve it anyways, using cross multiplication. I would take 3 times 30 and put it equal to 10 times x. And this is going to give me 10x equals 30 times 3. Well, now 30 times 3 is 90. That would equal 10x. I'm going to isolate my variable by dividing my coefficient away. And whatever I divide from one side, I do the other. I have x Remember, 10 divided by 10 is 1, so I have 1x left over. And 90 divided by 10 is 9. So that means I can expect to score a 9, or 9 times above an 8 out of the next 30 times. So my answer is 9. And that's all of them. I'm thinking this will be a pretty easy test for everybody. Hope you do. See you in class and have a great night.